Peace. Doc in the building. And we got a banger for you. More history. One of the things that is important for us as we establish the indigenous paradigm is to always seek primary documentation. And so this short discussion is about the fact that South America was Africa. See this book here? You see the title? See when it was written, 1669. And this is the primary source. And the language is Dutch. Now you can't read that. So I'm going to translate it for you. An impartial description of Suriname upon the continent of Guyana in Africa, with a history of several strange beasts, birds, fishes, serpents, insects, and customs of that colony. Okay, we got some explaining to do. Of course, Suriname is not in Africa. Suriname is in South America. And as you can see, the official language there is what? Dutch. Yeah, gets deeper. And if you want to see the location, Suriname is right here nestled in between Guyana and French Guyana. And so my source, thank the sister, I don't want to call her name, but she's from this area. And Africa was the three Guyanas of South America. And the Dutch knew this, so in their primary sources, they knew that Africa was the three Guyanas. Note, in African and Native Americans by Jack D. Forbes, he makes the distinction between Negroes de Terra and Negroes de Guine. He labels that as de Guine, but it's Guyana. And so in that text, he says that Negroes de Guine or Guyana are from Africa and Negroes de Terra are the Negroes from America. He's absolutely wrong. And I had to go back and correct my old research because of that poor source. Negroes de Terra meant Negroes in North America. Negroes de Guyana meant Negroes in South America. So here is the doctored version. So whenever you see this text right here, you need to know it's not the original Dutch, and that they took Africa out and put America. But in fact, the original Dutch document said that Africa was in America. Let's not stop there. Let's go into the book where they're describing the Negroes as slaves. And what did they say? Who are the most brought out of, this is Guyana, in Africa, to those parts where they are sold like dogs. They're talking about the slave trade. This is the Dutch. This is the translation of this Dutch book. So one thing I like to do is find patterns to bring more clarity to the situation. This is a book from Georgia, 1840s. And this little section right here, I'm going to highlight because it does something similar. So when you read inside of this book, 1840s, from congressmen in Georgia, it says the stupendous deserts between the Nueves and the Bravo, the Rio Grande, and some other parts. But it goes on to say that these are natural boundaries between the Anglo-Saxon and Mauritanian races. Mauritania was in Mexico at the time. And if we look up when Mauritania in Africa became a reality, we're there in 1958. So essentially what we're saying is that global geography and history has been reconstructed to hide your indigenous identity. So when you see this city and then you read about slaves being taken from Luanda and you're thinking it's Angola, maybe you need to do more research because this is Brazil. So back to the primary point. Suriname, which we know of today is in America, was listed by the Dutch to be in Guyana, which was in Africa. Yeah, scratch your head. But it gets deeper because now we got to figure out, well, who's doing all this switching around text and history? Well, when we go to the Dutch and Netherlands, we find that we got some issues. Amsterdam was known as Dutch Jerusalem because of the vast amount of Jews who were there. So these Jews who first recorded that Suriname was in Guyana and this was in Africa, they had to go back and reconstruct the whole history to tell a lie. And so what's the point? The point is, when you think that slaves were being taken from Africa, it can be easily proven that they were taken from South America and brought to North America, or from North America and brought to South America. I wrote a whole book on this subject. It's called They Lied About the Transatlantic Slave Trade. You can get this book off of my IG page, GodBodyOG, or you can go straight to our links on the arnagovernment.org website to get this book. You need this book. So when you look in South America and you see this standard right here as a flag, one of my brothers, Brother Kwahu, showed me that the flags all throughout South America have this. And they will try to tell you, oh, this is St. Andrew's flag. Oh, really? Let's test it. 1600s. This is thousands of years ago, right here. And this is an Olmec artifact. And what do you see? That's actually the Powhatan symbol. And what do you see down here? You see Old Dixie flag. So you think that that's the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag is to the right. This little X-shaped flag right here is Powhatan, which is an indigenous symbol that comes from the She. I don't ask anybody to believe me. Powhatan. And where was Powhatan here? This Powhatan was in Virginia. And as is quoted here in this particular book, then Powhatan, more like a devil than a man, with about 200 more as black as himself, came unto him. So in Virginia, you have black people with Mayan names, Powhatan, connected to the Olmec. But Ali made all of this up. I think y'all going to have to go to school again, and it's probably going to be Aboriginal University. Peace.